Good afternoon, Nkosi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Nkosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I'm with Amanda Murray and Grant Morel. How are you guys?
How are
Grant
you,
just got
Amanda?
back from Bali, so he's really good. Yeah, Grant just got back, guys, and he was like he went to a wedding, but he didn't get married.
Yeah, I made everybody laugh. I said I went to a wedding there, and the way I said it, I realised I thought I need to clarify. No, it wasn't me who got married. I just went to a wedding,
Yeah, he went to work, guys. He went for a business trip, and then he met one of our friends there. So he went, he was invited to the wedding, but he didn't get married.
Just went to one. Yeah.
That would be a good one, Grant. You come
It
back to
would
Bali
that
with a
would be a
wedding
good life.
ring.
A good life. I could come back with a wedding ring. That's no problem. But coming back with a wife is a different thing. Yeah.
Come back with the wife.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, guys, let's get into the topic. So, the topic is why empathy struggle to receive. So, empath are natural, attuned to the feeling and needs of others. Their sensitivity allows them to connect deeply, but often comes at expense of their own well-being. So, this is tendency can create a mindset where giving feel natural while receiving feels foreign or even uncomfortable. So I got this topic through Amanda's newsletter. So I told her I'm not gonna bother asking her any questions anymore about the topic. So I will go to Grant, but with Amanda it's easy now. I can go to a newsletter. I forgot about it and just get a topic there, get her brain. So Amanda, would you like to explain to our audience what was in your mind when you wrote this um, newsletter? I don't know if you still remember it.
Yeah, I do. Well, like I said last time that I decided last year at the beginning of January, essentially that I was going to write a blog entry like every single week for 52 weeks and like commit to myself to doing that and show up for myself each and every week in doing that. And I just like wrote down 52 topics, like essentially that day. Like it was just like I woke up and I had this idea and I wrote down 52 topics and then was like, okay, this is what I'm going to write about every week. So I've just been writing every week since then. I'm like week 46. So I know I didn't start exactly at the start of January, but I've almost completed my goal of 52 weeks. And so yeah, because I'm a very empathic person, I definitely have noticed in my journey of like self-awareness that I struggle to receive from other people, that I'm very much an independent person and that I can take care of myself, but I also am like over giving. So I just give and I give and I give, and then I like don't realize that it's also okay to receive. And I was listening to something or I was reading something, I can't remember what it was, a number of years ago, and it's talked about being open to receiving and how so many of us are closed off from receiving, and that we have to be, there's like an energetic exchange between like giving and receiving. And as an empathic person, sometimes we like give everything and we forget to be open to receiving, and that's part of like the journey of life, is to be able to not only be able to give like our really great qualities, but also to be able to receive that back from others and it can not always be the same form of receiving, but definitely being open to receiving in any capacity. So that even like, and I still struggle with this because like, for example, like I'm a single mom and I put my Christmas lights up on my house all by myself because I'm like not willing to ask somebody else to like come and help me. So I like just get my daughter to like hold the ladder for me. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I put the whole, like, I must look like a crazy person climbing up there. And like, I'm the only girl clearly probably on the street that climbs all the way up my ladder. And like, puts the Christmas lights all the way up around the house, and I do things like that that I just like don't even think to ask for help. And then one of my friends was like, "You dummy, I would have came and helped you." Right? They actually had said like, "Oh, I would have come and helped you do that." And I'm like, "Oh, it's okay, like I can do it, that's not a problem." And even like I went and I fixed my toilet by myself because I just was like, "Oh," lifted it up and I was like, "This is broken." And I just like found the part and went and fixed it, when really I could be open to asking for help sometimes, and I'm not, because I just like hold that in and don't often ask for help. But there's also joy in being able to give, and for other people to be able to give to help you too. And sometimes I think we forget that people, when you give something to somebody else, you're like excited about how they'll react to it or appreciate it or whatever. And we often, if we're not open to receiving, we're taking that joy away from them too. And that's something that opened my eyes completely as well, to being like that joy of giving that I feel when I give to other people. I'm blocking that when I'm not open to receiving. What do you think, Grant?
What a great subject. What a great subject. Empaths. And of course, in the world of coaching, training, hypnotherapy, Reiki, healing, what do you like? It's full of empaths, isn't it? Absolutely full of empaths. And why do they find it hard to receive? Well, they do. Because one of the reasons is that, as you say, they find it hard to receive because they don't want to burden people. They feel they empathetic to other people's needs, very empathetic. Perhaps that's what makes them really good as coaches, trainers, hypnotherapists, the list goes on. But of course, they don't want to burden people. They feel they're taking too much energy from other people. Not the case, of course, but it's what they feel. And feeling is 90% of people's believed reality. I'm not saying it is reality, but believe reality. So, this is one of the key reasons why it does. Of course, we're going to explore more of it as the show goes on. But it's a great thing. I'm sure some of you at home now are listening to this, or wherever you are, nodding your head and thinking, yep, that's me. That's me. And certain events that I've gone to over the years, you practice how to receive. Very big thing. When I coach my clients, I get them to practice to receive, because there's a lot of empaths out there. And a lot of us also have been brought up, not only empaths, have been brought up to feel that we don't deserve, we're not entitled. Or perhaps back in the day, somebody told us, oh, that's not for you. You've got to be really good to do that, implying that you're not really that good. All those little comments that we grew up with, heard, or someone threw at us to wound, or perhaps they said it unintentionally but carelessly, but it stayed in the mind, stays in the mind of an empath for sure, because they take it all in and then they replay it every day, and that's why they do find it hard to receive. That's my view. That's my view. Amanda's got a brilliant take on it as well. Nomsa, what do you think about that?
I like the topic. I think the topic is great. And I think when I read Amanda and listening to you guys like talking now, when I read her newsletter, many people they do struggle. I think it's the belief system of worthiness. Many people many empathy struggle to like with subconscious beliefs about worthiness. And I used to be one of those people. I used to feel like I have to give back when someone give. Some people they may feel they need to earn love as well. Like I'd felt love and support or recognition by giving to others, leading to guilt or uneasy when receiving. So all these feelings, I used to feel them as well. When somebody gives something to me, I feel that I have to give back. If I don't, I'll feel guilty that I've not given anything. But now I don't. Since I go into personal development, I allow myself to receive when someone gives me something, and I give myself that gratitude, and I thank God that I have a good friend or I have a family member, if it's a family member that are thoughtful, or I'm surrounded by thoughtful people. So, but before I would think that I needed to return the favor. But you can return a favor just by if someone is always there for you and buying them a little gift or something, but not feeling that you have to. There has got to be that excitement that my friend has always been there for me, or this person has always been there for me. So I'm gonna go to the shop, I'm gonna get something special for them. What do you think, Amanda?
Yeah, I think like my brain definitely goes to like, how can I give back as soon as somebody does something for me, right? I'm like, well, what can I get? What can I do for them? Right. And then sometimes you just have to be able to be like, say thank you. And even when like this is one thing to tell like if you are really open to receiving or not is have you ever had someone give you a compliment and then you automatically give them a compliment back? And it's like, "Oh, I really like your shoes." And you're like, "Thank you. I really like your shirt." And it's like you have to automatically give a compliment back instead of just saying like thank you and appreciating that. And that like clicked in my brain instantly when I heard someone say that to me, like it was on a podcast or something that I was listening to, and I was like, oh, I do that. I do that all the time. As soon as somebody says like, oh, I like your shoes, I'm like, wow, I really like I compliment them back instantly. And instead of doing that, I've now stopped doing that. And I only give people compliments when I truly like mean for them. And I like compliment people on their clothes all the time because I'm like, oh, that's so cute or whatever. Right. But I also, if somebody compliments me, I've learned to just say thank you and then stop. And just like allow them to have given me that compliment without needing anything instantly in return. And it was so strange how my brain was wired to think that I have to instantly give people a compliment back, no matter what, like instantly compliment them back. And instead of just being like, thank you, I really appreciate you telling me that, and just leave it. And I know for me, that felt like very uncomfortable at first. Have you ever had that experience, Grant, or had people who've had that experience in learning how
Oh,
to not automatically just like give back because it makes them feel uncomfortable? And I even had my cousin the other day say, it was like a while ago, probably like a year ago, and she was like, I hate it when people give me presents. I don't like it at all. And I was like, this is like something definitely ingrained in our family where it's like it makes you uncomfortable when somebody gives you something because, and I think it's like almost generational, like something that's been like ingrained in us to feel uncomfortable in that way. And I tried to like explain to her what I'd been learning about have been like it's okay to receive. It's okay that somebody gives you something and you don't have to automatically feel that you have to give them something back in return. It's okay to just say thank you and then be able to like give it. Maybe you're not even giving back to that same person. Maybe you're giving in a different way to somebody else because you were able to fully truly receive from that one other person instead of automatically feeling like you have to give back more instantly, because some people just have that capacity and wanting to give in a from a very kind and compassionate place, but not if you automatically feel like you have to return that instantly. That's not coming from that place of compassion and empathy. That's like a almost like a impulsive giving back, right? Than a centered, grounded giving back. And I think that's something that we need to ask ourselves: am I giving from this like centered, grounded place, or am I giving from this like wounded from my
mm,
childhood
mm.
that I haven't healed from?
Very, very good point. And back to your former point, which is a wonderful point, is that I think once I come back from a trip, I don't know if you're like me, you come back from a trip, you've used all the clothes you want to do, and you come back and you're thinking, what have I got to do the first day? The first day is going to be like a laundry day or something, and just catching up on emails and stuff, and you're going to potter around in and out of jet lag, and you'll wear any old stuff you got in the house. And I wore like the most hideous t-shirt because it was clean. It was like, oh yeah, that'll do. I've got all those weird socks, and yeah, I'll put those on. And I spoke to somebody, and I said, oh, I love your t-shirt, and I was like, but you can't. It's hideous. It's like it's the most hideous T-shirt. I wouldn't, it's one of those things you wouldn't even go to the post box in, But I sort of did it. Someone, I thought, what's going on? And I felt compelled to send a compliment. But one of the key things is exactly what you said. It's giving a compliment to someone, or where they feel they have to give compliments. Or if somebody gives them a compliment, they feel compelled they've got to go give one back. And it normally sounds like this, like you said, oh, I love your shoes. And it will be like, oh, no, no, no. They'll negate the shoes. No, no, no. But your hair looks wonderful. And what's that got to do with it? I just sound like your shoes. I mean, thanks. Yeah, great. But I was like, that's not what I was saying. I was talking about your shoes. Why say no? Like, no, my shoes don't look good. But it will normally start with a negation. Oh no, no, no. Or like, oh no, they're just old. Well, I didn't say that was new. I just said I like them. They could be old. I mean, have you not got old shoes that you really like and you think, I don't want to wear them too often, I don't want to wear them out because I'll never get them again and I really like them? I haven't got to be new to be great.
But think about it. All of us have had this conversation where somebody like automatically just like
Yeah,
impulsively can't just say thank you.
yeah. And it's like, oh, you did that very, very well. Like, I get this one. Oh, I'm just a housewife. I'm like, what do you mean you're just a housewife?
Just a housewife.
Just a, happens to that. Oh, I'm just an ordinary worker. Yeah, like the backbone of the company. Yeah, I know. Yeah, they'll always negate themselves. And it's so if you're doing that, guys, just stop that a little bit. And there is a technique that I've been to courses where there's a whole mass exercise to try to get you out of that habit. And in fact, I do it with my clients. And even yesterday, first day back, one of my clients, yeah. One of the clients who was at the retreat had a coaching session with me yesterday. And before we went to the retreat, the homework was centered around that very subject. And yesterday, I checked their to do. I said, oh, and did you do that exercise and how did you get on? In fact, they passed it with flying colours. But the exercise is pretty much around what we just said. Yeah, to get them out. That's funny, great coincidence actually, if there is such a thing, that we got that subject today. Because yeah, literally yesterday I had to ask one of my clients to homework around that very, very subject. It's that exercise, but it's so important. But this is language, the power of language. And I'd always encourage people to listen to the language you're using. Those throwaway comments, and I'll say, yeah, I'll go supermarket shopping or something. Yes, not shopping to buy supermarkets. I mean, I go buy shopping food in supermarkets. I'll go there and I'll come back, my head spinning because I'm picking up all this conversation from people. Bit empathetic, right? I'm picking up what a conversation, and I'm sitting there thinking, Grant, stop coaching, cross coaching. I can't tell them. But listen to what they're saying to themselves. Just picking up conversations in the queue, in the line if you're in America. Amanda, what do you say? Do you say in the line or in the queue? What do you say in Canada?
In a line.
In a
Yeah.
line, right? Okay. So in North America, then you guys tend to say that in a line. In England, we'll say in a queue. Um, but when you're waiting, right? You're waiting in line for something. You just hear these conversations of people, and as a coach, you hear it, and you hear the negating, the self-deprecating, conversation that people have, and so they don't realise they're doing it. It's like they're just stabbing themselves in their harm, with this language they're using. Oh, I'm just this, or it's just that, oh, it's nothing special, and it's like, oh, I've got to do that, and don't put yourself in a position. Easily said than done, I know. You don't put yourself in a position where you've got to do something. Put yourself in a position where you're choosing to do something. Oh, I'm going to work today. Not, oh, I've got to go to work. Try to find a career where you enjoy going to work because you can spend a lot of your life doing it. So be choosing life because then you can change your language. You're not, oh, I've got to do that. Oh, I've got to cook dinner. Well, that's quite a privilege, isn't it? I mean, to have food, to be able to cook food in your own home, that's pretty good. That's a lot of people can't do that. We need to start being more grateful of things.
Yeah.
Certainly when I had COVID and I was very ill, I couldn't even get to the doorstep. After that, to go out and take the rubbish, trash, out in the rain was a pleasure. How lucky lucky I am to be able to do this. What a privilege. This is fantastic. This is great. I used to moan about it before. Do it begrudgingly, and yeah, and our hands smell, so now I'm going to have to wash my hands again. Yeah, well, how lucky. Hot running water and soap. What a privilege, fantastic. A lot of people haven't got that. So the language we use, not I've got to take it out. I want to choose it out. And then it comes back to that whole thing about, like your shoes. Oh no, they're just like old. Your shoes look really nice, It's the whole watch out for that language that we're using. And that's just what I wanted to inject into the conversation, if I may. And I'm sure one of you two ladies want to inject something into the conversation now as well.
Yeah, actually, Grant, you're right. Like this dress that I'm wearing, I bought it when I bought it online, it was so nice. When I saw it online, it was so beautiful. I was like, I'm gonna wear it to the wedding. I bought it when it arrived. I was like, are you having a laugh? I can't wear that. So I had to go and buy another one for emergency. But every time I wear the dress, everyone says it's nice. I have to bite my tongue and say, oh, thank you.
So, two questions. Do you not like that dress that you're wearing now? Because I think it's fantastic.
I like it, but not for the wedding, Grant.
Oh, when you said the wedding, is this my wedding or...
Somebody else's
We're going to
wedding.
go buy new dresses when we come to your wedding.
Okay, all right.
My sister-in-law was getting married, so I needed to buy a dress, so I bought this one. I looked really nice on online and stuff to wear it,
Right.
but when it arrived, it wasn't suitable for the wedding. It wasn't really nice, so I was like, no, not gonna wear that. But when I wear it, people likes. And the worst one is there's one that I bought on Amazon. It's so baggy. And I wanted to chuck it in the bin, and then I decided I'm gonna wear it. And every time I wear it, people they're like, "Oh, I like your dress, Nom. So it's so beautiful." I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
That's what to wear at a wedding. A slight deviation here, but while I was
This one
away,
you cannot go to the wedding, Grant. You
no,
can go
no.
to the office, but the wedding. But
Well,
it was when the bride clothes, like bride list, like if you want to go to the wedding, it was in that category. But I wouldn't. It is not something my style that I'll wear when I go to a wedding. I like to look nice,
I'm
not
sure you
a
always do.
dress, but I like simple by looking elegant.
Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't always get to choose what you wear at a wedding. And let me just tell you a little segue story. So while I was in Bali, like a great teacher Dewa said something about weddings, something about jungles, something about sarong. And I'm thinking, oh, we're going to a wedding tomorrow. Oh, wait, hang on. I think I've got a pair of chinos in my suitcase somewhere. Have I got yeah, I've got a shirt. I think I need to get it, or maybe I'll run to the market and buy it. No need. No need. We go traveling, having a great conversation, me, there you are, his wife, traveling through, looking at the tarmac roads, but jungle either side. No kidding. I mean, and it's not a forest. No, no, no. It was a jungle. Right? I mean, literally, technically a jungle. And it's just breathtaking. And talking about, and I got a massive download about life, business, training, yoga, all this kind of stuff. I mean, I really had a download chatting. And no, no, it's traditional clothing. So we go to this village, which is in the middle of a jungle. Yes, there's a street, and there's little houses at the side, but you go down the side alleyway and there's jungle. There's a little dirt track and there's jungle. I mean, it's a village in the jungle, and it's where one of the places very close, very very close to where he grew up. And oh yeah, the sarong wasn't for his wife; it's for me. It's traditional. So I'm wearing the headbands. Please forgive me for your Balinese. I don't know quite. It was such a fast journey, and I to get there, and the Wi-Fi was not great, so I couldn't really look things up very well. But the headband and a sarong. Yeah, I'm wearing all that stuff and flip-flops. So we go to a wedding in proper Balinese style in the middle of a jungle. So Nom said, yes, you don't always get to choose what you're going to wear at a wedding. That's the moral of the story. But no, it was fantastic. It was I thought, as you mentioned weddings, I've got to drop that story in. It was a very, very special honor to be invited to a family member's wedding on a day, a friend of the family. Great, really, really good, and such a great setting. But yeah, but I didn't wear a dress, but kind of. Yeah. It was.
And
uh,
having said that, Grant, I used to do this when I was child. Amanda said before that childhood attachment, giving from childhood attachment. I used to like when I go to school, someone who wants shoes, or if I have my family, if I have two pairs of shoes, I'll give it away. If I see someone who hasn't got that. So dating time was there's a girl, one of the girls, she's last time when we were shooting, I admired her shoes, and she was like, "You can wear my shoes while we're shooting because they match your thingy, your dress." So I wore them, and then she goes, "Take them out. You can take them home." So when we were filming last Friday, and this girl, we rented this big mansion. They rented this big mansion. It cost like 10 million or 20 million. It's so beautiful. And but the children of that house, the parents went away, but the children were there, so they wanted to go out. So we're like, because they need to go out while we're shooting, we're like, you can stay with us, let's have a chat, we film you, you can stay with us and show us around. So they decided to stay because the maid was there to show us around and stuff, but we said you can stay. So they stayed, and this girl, she admired her Zara's dress, and she was like, "Your dress is so beautiful." And Zara finished the shooting, and she folded the dress, and she goes, "Here's the dress. You said you like it. You can have it." So I was like, "Zara, do you go around giving your clothes?" But she reminded me of my childhood. I was like, "This is the person that I am." Even about myself now, if I go home, I take the suitcase is not coming back. Because if somebody says I like your clothes, I just give it to them as well. I do the same. Yeah.
how about that? How about that? That's interesting. I like it. Yeah. Are you a giver? Are you a giver?
Yeah.
Empaths are givers, right? They give stuff away. That's the thing. They give it away all the time. Yeah. It's why do you think, guys? Is it that they feel, is it just generosity? Or is it feel that they don't have the right to have something that's so good, especially if somebody else likes it so much? What is it? Why do empaths do that, you think?
Give what the feeling that comes in my heart is like I if I have an opportunity, I don't give it to someone who's got money. If
Right.
somebody admires what I have, and if I see this person, there's no way they can get it. I have this thing in my heart that if I can give you a smile, let me give it to you. If that this thing can bring a smile to you, let me give it to you. So that's the reason why I give. But I don't just give because someone has said I like this. It's like my sister. My sister likes the way I dress. So when I go home, I know that she really, really likes my clothes. So I said to her, go to my suitcase, take what you need, and because I know she really loves it. But I never used to be like, because my mom, she's a dressmaker, so I never used to be good with clothes when I was young, like 10, 14, up to the age of 16. I never really used to be good, like loving clothes. So that's the reason why I give. I don't know about Amanda.
For me, it's more about like time and like compassion, and it's not like necessarily giving like material things. It's definitely like, oh, I'll go out of my way to like drive somebody to the airport or like go and pick them up or something like that. Like I definitely am more of a like time giver in that respect. But I definitely think that when we sit with ourselves and we ask our if you just like took a moment to yourself and said like am I open to receiving, and just see what answer you got back in your mind's eye, right? Like, are you open to receiving? And for a long time my answer was no. And and then how do you work through that so that you can be open to receiving, like, and open to receiving love from other people, open to receiving like support or help in like a simple way. I was like getting help putting your Christmas lights up, like something where I probably should have asked for help so that I don't fall off my ladder, right? Like something, so those sort of things where it's definitely like, can you be open to receiving in a way that's going to allow like an energetic exchange in both ways that's like healthy, right? Because you don't want to over give, you just also don't want to over receive, right? Just because there's some people who are like energy suckers, right? Where they're like, they call them energy vampires. And maybe Grant, you have more information on that topic specifically, because I know as an empath that I've definitely given a lot of energy to energy vampires, and then not seen how I'm not open to receiving and finding a balance in that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think quite often, I think when it comes to being around people and asking for things, empaths find it exhausting, right? They find it drains them, like of that energy. It really does take it away. It takes the wind out of the sail. It's like when the people go and they haven't got to do it anymore, they just go, oh. It's like they collapse almost in exhaustion. It just takes it away from them. Excuse me, because it's not what they're used to. It's not what they're comfortable to. But I suppose really one of the questions is if that is you, so you identify the problem. If that is, and it can be a problem because it can hold you back from achieving that less than perfect life, your less than fulfilled life, that less than wonderful life, living the true great experience on this. I mean, you can be happy, you can go through because we navigate ourselves out of pain in life, don't we? If we're a little bit wise, I say a little bit wise, we see our weaknesses and we avoid round them, right? That's kind of survival and that's smart to an extent. But unless we deal with that, we're not really truly living life to its full extent. You're cheating yourself out a bit. You're playing at a level 7, not a level 10, which is fine if you're happy with that. But if you really want to experience this life, all the flavors of life, perhaps you need to learn how to experience that because there's a lot of love to be given. There's a lot of compliments, not maybe just going out to receive compliments, but there's a lot of goodness to receive. So if we want to do that, you can learn to get round it. And I'm sure these ladies are going to share some ideas with you how to do that. I could certainly help you a little bit too. But this is the thing. Identify the problem. Is that you? If it's not you, is it someone you know? Is it your spouse? Is it your brother, your sister, your mother, your child? Is it your neighbor? Who is it? Who's an empath? And are they living life less than their brilliant best? Because if you can elegantly steer them to don't tell them this is just you're doing it wrong, don't tell people that, but allow them to discover it themselves and make a choice of whether they would like to change, because maybe they don't want to, and that's fine. If they want to change, there is a path they can take so that they can live a wonderful life. What do you think, ladies? What do you think?
Yeah, there's always a room for change. There's always. It's like when I read Amanda's um newsletter, it was like I was reading it for myself, my past, how my past used to be like. So I was like, oh, that's who I used to be. There many of us out there. So yeah, so I think sometimes there's this thing where when you when you receive is, or like even sometimes when you get into vulnerability and asking, like accepting to receive, it can feel like a loss of control. It used to feel like that like I don't have control with my life, even asking for help. But it's something that I had to work really, really hard for myself, and to feel that if someone really gives me a compliment, to say thank you and just walk away. Um, and accept that compliment, and also if someone gives me something, just to receive it, not feeling that I have to return a favor. I've heard people so many times that, oh, this person has done this for me. I have to return a favor. I have my next door neighbor. My daughter lives, she's got two homes basically. She lives at her house or here. Sometimes she'll be like picking her to school like for the whole week. So she's like a part of the family, but I don't give her end of the year, like now Christmas time, she gets a big present. When I mean she gets a meaningful present. So I take my time to just to check what I can do for her because I know she's part of the family. But I don't say, oh, like maybe every week, like she does this for me, I'm going to return. But that it takes lots of courage to accept that.
Mm.
Really lots of courage. Even now, she knows the Christmas is coming. She's gonna get a big present because she knows that she does helps out. So when everybody else gets a present, I don't spend the lots on them, but her, she's worth it. Yeah. So I don't know about Amanda. Do you still struggle though, Amanda, now when receiving?
It definitely, like, I have to pause for a second and like just say, be like, no, just say thank you. Just say thank you. Don't automatically. I
I like your
definitely,
jumper, by the way.
Yeah, it's
oh,
nice.
like in my
Yeah,
sweater.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Actually, yeah, I like it. I forgot because when you came in and then we were talking and then Grant came in, I was like, I like Amanda's jumper.
Yeah, it's funny because I had seen a sweater like this, like at this one store, and I really was like in love with it on the like online thing. And then I went and tried it on and I didn't like it at all. And then I saw the almost the exact same sweater in similar design at a different store, but it was like longer and I was like, and it fit me perfectly. And I was like, oh, it was just the wrong store. Same, very similar style and everything, just didn't fit me properly in this one design, but at a different store it did, and very similar, but not the one that I originally went out specifically downtown to buy. And then I was like, ooh, I don't like how it fits. And then I was at a different store and it was beautiful. So yeah, I think I want to just go back to what Grant was, I forget what you were just talking about, there was something I had to say about what you were talking about and I forget, about just when people interact with each other and how we sometimes just,
Energy? Was it the energy?
yeah, yeah,
Wearing out? Yeah, because sometimes I
yeah,
say,
yes, the energy, how, and I was thinking about teachers because I'm a teacher and I see like they this our staff is just like exhausted. Like they are just like, it's the beginning of December and so it's like 3 weeks until Christmas and the teachers are done. The kids are done. Everybody's done. Right? And like we have 2.5 weeks left of like giving so much of ourselves to the children and often we forget about like making sure we're taking care of ourselves. And I think any teacher that's listening right now would be like, oh, that's me. Like I'm tired. I'm done. There's like, I just have to like power through for the next 2.5 weeks to get to Christmas. And I remember always feeling that way. I don't feel that way anymore because I definitely spend a lot more time taking care of myself so that I can take care of the kids better. Because when I'm feeling like completely done and I have no more left to give, I'm not a very good teacher. And so I need to make sure that I'm showing up in a space where it's like I have energy to give. And if I don't have that energy to give, then I show up as a burnt out, exhausted teacher, like I'm seeing the majority of our staff show up as each and every day right now. And I know that a lot of it has to do with how the system functions. And I've tried really hard with myself to be like, okay, this is the capacity I have to give in this area. I need to also make sure that I take care of myself, but also like look through the like bureaucratic BS and be like, I'm not going to put a lot of attention to the bureaucratic BS. I'm just going to focus on the wonderful kids that I have in my classroom and compartmentalize the parts that aren't important to the real like wonderful part of my job, because if I get bogged down by the bureaucratic BS, then then
Yeah.
I will just hate my job and I'll hate life and I'll hate my career. And I think a lot of times with teachers, like if we just got to teach and didn't have to worry about all the paperwork or anything else, we would love our jobs. And we would feel this like wonderful, compassionate, like career that we have. And then yet we're so much of it is bogged down by this bureaucracy. And so really learning how to compartmentalize that has helped me not hate my career. Because if I let those parts of it drag me down, then I really despise my career. But I love teaching kids and I love working with them. And I find, just like yesterday, we were like building paper airplanes because we're learning about flight and how to design different types of airplanes, which you would love, Grant,
Oh
because you were,
yeah, count me in
and
on that class.
it
Yeah.
was so fun. And we got them to just like build all these different planes. And then we went outside and tried them. And there's like snow on the ground where I live. So it's like we're throwing airplanes in the snow and they're like getting wet, getting destroyed. And but it was so fun. And people were like, "Aren't you exhausted?" Like I'm like, we made paper airplanes all afternoon. We talked about the science behind it, and then we let them make paper airplanes. Then we went outside and we threw paper airplanes. I'm like, I am not that. What are they going to remember about grade 5? They're going to remember that our teacher let us go outside and throw paper airplanes. They're going to remember the day that we walked to the lake and we tested our boats. They're not going to remember any of the others, like checking of the boxes that I have to do in my career. Like I'll mention those things really quickly, but I'm not going to spend my whole time focusing on them. I'm going to focus on doing meaningful activities and fun activities so that they actually like being there and they actually like school, because so many kids dread going to school and I don't want them to dread coming to my classroom. And that's really like the sole purpose of my job, for me, is for to make, and I do still do the math that's like, oh, teaching multiplication and double digit and triple digit multiplication is like, that is just a nightmare. In itself, it is a nightmare. But then I can like, okay, the afternoon we're going to spend doing a lot of really fun things, right? And so I'm like, okay, we'll do this for a little bit of time, but then the majority and the real soul of my work isn't spending time teaching kids how to multiply, because they hate it. I hate it. And it's not like, they're like, where am I going to use this in real life? Because I'm just going to use this. And I'm like, exactly. But you need to make sure that when you're checking something on the calculator, you know approximately that what it is supposed to be, so that you know that you didn't type something in incorrectly, right? So we still have to know how to do it the long way. But I do find that as an empath, in that we get bogged down by everything, right? And we can allow the weight of everything to be on our shoulders, the weight of making sure that we check all of the boxes when really we don't have to. We can just give children authentic experiences. And when you think back to your childhood, as from a teaching, from an elementary school perspective, like what do you remember? Probably remember like 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
And they're like the really big things that one teacher did that was really, really fun for you. And so I always take myself out of that, like in the moment piece of like, what are they going to really remember 20 years down the road?
I don't remember much from school at all.
Yeah,
I really
right?
don't. I have no idea what school taught me. I mean, yeah, reading, writing, arithmetic. Yep, got that, and I was reasonably good at them. And arithmetic, particularly, I was rather good, and that was just by learning by rote, just times table. I was pretty damn good at that. Even now, I'll just throw a few figures from my mind as you were saying it, and yeah, I'm still accurate with it.
Yeah.
But remembering facts, figures, history, I was interested in. The rest of the stuff, I remember something about crop rotation, and that's there you go. There's like 11, 12 years. That's it there. I can't
Yeah.
remember much more. I suppose it taught you more about doing things. Do you know what I mean? About the discipline of doing things and interaction with people. I suppose that's the lesson. But I remember precious little from school. I was not a bad student by any stretch of the matter. I wasn't a genius at it. I wasn't bad. I was in the upper streams, but yeah, I don't remember much.
Yeah.
It bored the hell out of me. I I
You
could.
would have had fun in my classroom yesterday. We were
Oh,
throwing
you know,
plates.
I mean, literally, I mean, when I look at schools now, because I didn't enjoy school, it was one of my first questions when I went to school the first day was, when can I leave?
Mhm.
Of course, I had like 11, 12 years. I mean, I had a very, very miserable time at school for most of it, until I found music and fashion.
Mhm.
That changed everything. It changed it. It was really, I don't know why it did. Not that I studied music or fashion particularly at school, but it just changed the dynamic and the interaction of being there and everything. It really did. It made it a lot easier. Not great, but a lot easier. But apart from that, I hated school. I really did. It was very unimaginative. It was very boring. It was, yeah, it was quite horrible, really. In many ways, I didn't think I'd live long enough to get through school. That's when I was younger. I mean, literally, I thought, well, I can't imagine I'll be old. My biggest ambition was to be like 18 years old and go to work. That was it. To do something real in the world. That was, I mean, I was 5 years old. I was thinking that.
And as a teacher, like for me, I'm like, how can I make this real life? Right? That's always my
Yeah, yeah.
question. Like, how can I show kids, whatever it is that I'm teaching, that there's something meaningful in real life to connect this to? Otherwise, it seems totally useless. And there's definitely things in the curriculum that I'm like, somebody tell me where I see this in real life because I can't even like make a loose connection to it, right? And so, and I speaking like you have a doctorate, like you, right? Like you are
Right.
very
Yeah.
intelligent, right? And yet you look at school from that perspective. And so when we look at that receiving piece of teachers, like I'm hoping that if anybody's listening, like make sure you're full, like that, so that you can like give from an
Yeah.
authentic place that's full of life and excitement so that kids don't come out of school absolutely hating it and their only goal is to get out so that they can get a job, right? Find something that's going to spark their interest, and every kid's interest is going to be different, which is why I love teaching elementary school because I get to do everything. And like some kids love art, some kids love math, some kids love science, and I just try to like find those little bits of things that's going to like this kid's going to be really excited about this, so let them focus more on that. And this kid's really excited about this, so give them more opportunities for that, and try to navigate that so that I can inspire a passion in somebody that might light that fire to get them into whatever career that they want to get into from something that I've sparked
I
in
think
grade.
I think in my coaching and training now, and I've just realised this perhaps that's part of the reason I love doing it so much was even like the classroom environment now, I don't particularly like. Even if I'm like kind of teaching, I try to make it as enjoyable as possible because I don't want it to be like. I mean, some of the people who come to now are seriously good students. They're seriously, seriously good. Way better students than I ever would have been. You know, I learned it took me longer to learn. Not because I wasn't a great student, it's just that the environment does not put me in my best learning capacity. So I'm very much on the lookout for people who are having a tough time not getting it because I really want to help them and I really want them to be enjoying it. Enjoy it because you know, learning can be great fun, as you know, if you get it right. And there was occasions at school when, you know, we had certain teachers there, certain teachers stood in, a deputy, we had like a deputy head who clearly had been promoted to a point where he was frustrated it was no longer teaching very much because he was a very good teacher. It was quite clear when he stood in for teachers on occasion, he was a great teacher. And I never knew that. I knew he was the deputy head when he was kind of like, okay, you know, a little bit of an authority figure, quite an authority. But and he still was. But when he taught, he was animated. He was great. He was fun. I remember more from that one lesson than anything. He was his name was Mr. Camp, and he dressed camp. He had orange socks and an orange MG sports car and an orange tie. He was quite camp by name, camp by nature, in a sense, in his dress sense. And he was very animated, very skilled person. And Nomsa probably remembers, you know, great teachers as well at school and not so great ones. But so now, when I'm actually teaching, I like to keep people engaged, look out for those who are getting it, those who are not, because we all get little blocks on things, and to help people enjoy the experience. Because when we have fun, we learn so much better. And I think that's a very, very important part, because you're empathetic, right? You're picking up on people's emotions, and you perhaps you've been there, and you don't want to see other people go through it too. And it should be a fun experience. And I remember, like when you're saying, at the junior school, when you look at the architecture of, what did you call them? Junior schools, infant schools, different places, year this, whatever. I never know what the years are. But when you look at those, the architecture of those buildings are friendly. They're welcoming, rather unlike the more senior schools. They're a bit more cold, a bit more austere. And I was
No,
always,
schools here look like penitentiaries.
yeah, yeah. I don't get that.
Older
I'm like,
ones.
why do you want to scare the life out of children? I don't get it. It's meant to be a place of learning, receiving, sponging information. Why do you want to make it look like a prison? I
Mhm.
don't get that. And that's what I saw them as. So my other school I went to later was actually two schools joined together. It was back in the day, it had been a boys' school on one side and a girls' school on the other. By the time I was there, it was joined. So there was like a field in the middle, playground, whatever, and it had been modified. So sometimes you'd have classes on this side and so on. The architecture was completely different. In
Mhm.
the old boys section, the architecture was squared off, angular, rigid. In the girls, the walls were rounded. I
Mhm.
felt so much better. In the girl, it was just, from I'm not a feng shui expert, but if you were a feng shui expert, you'd know what I'm talking about. It was different. The energy was so, so different. And I was very sensitive to that. Um, there's, I don't know, I can't describe it, but even now I think of the other place, and it was just warm and relaxing. And you could learn better there. You could learn much better there than ever before. And I think that's a great thing. Great thing. Yeah, teaching is a wonderful thing. You can do a great thing for people, and you can teach them how to deal with being an empath as well with certain exercises. Um, do you spot this in kids, Amanda?
Sorry, what?
Being an empath, do you spot this in kids a lot? Kids are
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What are the signs for that as a kid? If someone's got a kid in the listing, what's the signs?
Just definitely like very sensitive children for sure are more empathic. They can also have like very um different mood swings, right? Where it's like something will just like crush them, right? Or like something that like seems to, or they're very like internalized and loud noises and stuff can affect them, and or they get completely drained by how busy the classroom is and they need like a quieter space to work. Being able to hold it together at school and then crash completely at home or have like angry outbursts and stuff at home, like those are definitely signs that you have a very empathetic
Because
child,
you're
right?
withholding, you're
Sensitivities
withholding
to
emotion.
clothing and different things, to lights. Yeah.
So you're going to hold it back when you get to the safe place. If you want
Mhm.
to call it at home, wherever's safe for you, you just
Yeah.
let go and burst in. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a terrible thing. But I mean, one of the things I will say to people who are empaths is journal,
Mhm.
journal a lot, write it down, write down your feelings. Start to become like everything aware. What's coming up for me? Why am I feeling uncomfortable now? What is it that's making me uncomfortable? What kind of questions? Write this down, become aware of yourself, and then also is what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? What am I feel I'm lacking? Because we all need certain things that are different. What Nonce needs will be slightly different to me. What you need will be slightly different to me, and what I need will be different to you. So and what we all need will be different to people listening. But what is it that you need? Listen to that. And what are you not getting? And quite often, like empaths don't ask for what they want, right? They don't feel entitled, as we said at the beginning. So, first understand what is it that you want. Two, what do you feel you really need? And then three, how can you get it? How can you get it? And the danger here is if you're an empath, I think sometimes we can create divisive ways to try to get it rather than directly asking.
Mhm.
And I remember growing up, and there were some kids who were really good at asking for stuff. Could I have that, please? They just ask. And
Mhm.
people go, oh, okay, and give it to them. Well, God, is it that easy? You can just ask, and some people will give it to you. but it is a more direct, honest route. I used to work with a guy, and he used to say, if you were eating food and you liked it, he'd say, did you want me to have some of that? I went, what? And did you want me to have some of that? I can get an extra plate if you like. They're like, oh, okay, fine. Just- Wonderful phrase. Wonderful. Did you want me to have some of that? Which always made me laugh. But yeah, it's some people he had no fear of asking. No fear of asking. What do you think, Nomsa? Do you know, do you come across people who find it easy to ask for things? And can we, if you're an empath, can we learn lessons from them? Or does that not fit an empath? What do you think?
Sometimes people find it hard to ask. Me anyway, I snoop around people's mind. I force them to ask. But most of the time, people they find it hard. For me, I was raised by a teacher. My dad was a teacher. It's a gift. Being raised, being a part, having a parent that is a teacher is a gift. Because teachers they think differently, they do things differently. To them, everything is there's a strategy. You have to have a strategy. So you have to, like I am who I am. My siblings are completely different. But because me, I used to hang out with my dad a lot. I listen to his, when he talks, I'll listen to him. So I became an artist just by being raised by that teacher. And I also have learned, he used to teach me to ask. And even the church that I go to, we get taught you can ask. If you don't ask, you don't receive.
Ah,
We get taught to give, the power of giving. So to understand the power of giving and to understand the power of receiving and the power of love, like Amanda, her time is material and her giving is material and time. I give time as well. Like it's powerful. And you can't, if you are that kind of a person, you have that kind of a mindset. Because when you receive and you have obligations, that is a block. You're creating a blockage. So you shouldn't have you need to create a freedom within yourself so that more things can come through. So I think that is really important. But mostly clients and my friends that I have, my friends will prefer, if I ask, they're there for me, like childcare, they're there for me. But for them to ask, they'll prefer to hire somebody to come and look after their child. Um, like my next door neighbor, she'll prefer to go and ask her mom, but her children they demand, they demand next door, they demand Nomsa. Like, don't want to go and see, we hang out with Nanny, we want to stay with Nomsa. Because they don't want to give problems. They feel they're giving problems, but it's not. Family, we are all on earth
yeah.
to become one. So we're here to help one another.
And
So if yeah.
that's a great point, Nomsa, because you know, if you're an empath and you care about other people, we're not saying for a second stop doing that. No. In fact, I would encourage more people to be empathetic to other people. There's a difference between being empathetic and being an empath, right? You know, to be empathetic means that you can empathize with people, you can understand the situation, you can understand their emotions, you can feel that, you know, well, you can understand their emotions and appreciate their emotions. That's one thing. But then genuinely feeling them and taking them home with you is a different thing. And as coaches, trainers, therapists, we need to be able to cleanse ourselves of that. In part of laughing yoga we do, it's cleansing yourself. I feel it's cleansing yourself of certain things that are going on in your life. Because if I said it on the show before, if you're a teacher, a trainer, or anything, you can pick up people's emotions, but you got to be able to put them away, put them back in the box when you go home to your family. Or if your family are driving you mad, you got to be able to put that away in the box so you can go to work and be fully present. And so to do that, so certainly be a good person, be aware of people's sensitivities, but be able to brush them off. You don't want it stuck on you. You know, my friend was used to be a police officer, and he said it this way. He said, "Look," he said, "you know, if I was called to a terrible situation, car accident or something, he said, I would get it that that person's having a bad day. I get that." He said, "and I would do everything within my power while I'm there to, you know, keep them safe, right? Everything within my power, literally hand them over to the ambulance service and do everything I could to do that. Once I go home and my uniform comes off and I wash my hands of it, I go home and have my dinner. My job is done. I had to do that to protect myself. You know, when I'm back on duty and something happens there, I will deal with it 100%. When I go home, once I've handed it off to someone else, I am done." And that was his protection. He cared. He cared a hell of a lot, and still does care about people very much. Uh, but he has to put those boundaries in place. So journal, write it down, see what really comes up for you, see what you need, and practice asking. Small steps at a time, and you'll see what happens. That's what I wanted to share with you. Amanda?
I think I need to get going, but this has been such a wonderful conversation because it's helped me to understand that like I'm not the only one that has those like impulses to like instantly give a compliment back, or those like feelings of like, oh, I don't always feel comfortable accepting a present or a gift or even help from other people. Sometimes I feel like I just need to go on it on my own, but then also just reinstating that fact of like when you're not open to receiving, you're like blocking other people from the joy that they have in giving. And I know that I feel a lot of joy when I get to give to other people. And giving can look different too. It can look as time, it can look as gifts, it can look as support or food, like Grant was talking about, right? That people are okay with asking for things too sometimes. And so when you struggle to receive, or just even sit with yourself and like ask, am I open to receiving? And I think that will give you some really clear answers to what you're hoping to shift in your life.
Yeah, ask, it shall be given, and give, and have the courage to receive. Allow yourself to receive. That's what I'm leaving you with you guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe to our channel. LinkedIn, share our videos wherever you may watching us. Twitter, please do share. And Facebook, we have two Facebook group, Ngozi Talk Shows and the Unique Billionaire Mindset. Please do join the groups. And when you join the group, if you are a coach, do share your work. We don't sell, but we share our work so that if somebody is looking for something, they'll be like, oh, there's a relationship coach here, or there's a business coach here, and just contact you, because there are times where you get that desperation, like I'm looking for somebody. So that's what the group is about. And live with grace, everyone, and God bless. And thank you so much, Amanda, for the topic.